For the first example, we'll show how to map a single VAV zone with the following requirements. This will be a small 500 square foot conference room, and it will require 15 minutes to get to set point from unoccupied mode. It will be scheduled from room SS4 in the Dean Evans EMS scheduling system, and will link to a BACnet object on device 203, binary value instance ID 3,135,000, which is the occupied command for this VAV. The HVAC operators will use exception schedules to enter ad hoc schedules to this VAV. They are using priority 15, so we will want to respect any schedules entered at priority 15, but for our scheduled events, we want to override these at priority 14 for the event start. After the event is over, we will release the override to fall back to the priority 15 schedules. Here's how you do it in the software. Okay, for this first demo, we're going to create a single VAV zone by going to the Equipment Manager, clicking on Add, and we're going to give this a name, Building 1, VAV, Room SS4. I can name this however you want to, whatever makes sense to your team. And this is a VAV terminal unit. This only affects reporting output and grouping of your equipment. It's not really functional other than that. I can give a optional description here if you want to put more details about this zone. This zone requires 15-minute pre-start, and I'm going to save the changes so it shows up here. The next step is to add the action. I'm going to go down here, select the Actions tab, click Add, and the first step is define your triggering event. We're going to do it off of setup and teardown of the event, so it includes those times if they're booked with the event. And the interface we're going to talk across is BACnet. If you had multiple interfaces, they'd show up under this combo box. And then for BACnet, I'm going to select the start-stop action. This brings up the Add Edit Action dialog, where you can see the triggers that you set up previously, along with the specific BACnet properties that you need to map this action to. I can do this manually. If I know the device ID, I can type this in, or I can use the browser to go find it. And this is on device 203. It's a binary value, and here's the instance ID we're looking for. And I can just copy that, close the window, hit the paste, and it populates all the values in for me. Now I'm going to write to the present value. That's normally the case. And our particular requirement is we want to send our command at 14. So at the start of the event, actually start of setup, we're going to send a 1, which would put that VAV box in occupied mode. For the event end, or the teardown stop portion of the event, we're not going to send a 0, we're just going to do a relinquish command. So it's going to release the priority 14 that we had, and in BACnet it will revert to the next highest priority and whatever command that's sitting at. So if there's any priority 15 special event, special events going on, it'll revert back to whatever value that should be at. Now once we've got everything set up, we can verify that we can talk to this point. So I can use the verify button to read the object, and it comes back with various properties. And for BACnet, an important property is the priority array. That tells you what commands at what priorities are sitting in the array. The first entry is priority 1, the last entry is 16. So you can see we've got a 16 priority with a value of 0 in the array already. Now we can test end-to-end from Events2HVAC to the physical device by using the test start and test stop. That'll send the start value up here, a 1, across the wire to the physical device. So I can send a test start. You can see it was successful. I can verify the point data again, and you can see that I've got a 1 sitting in the priority 14 slot now. That is the correct response. I can do the same with test stop. This will send a relinquish command or a null at priority 14. So it says it's successful, go verify, and I can see at priority 14 I've got a null value, and the present value should be back at 16 at 0, which you can see at present value 0 there. So that's how you test end-to-end after you bind the point objects together. Ideally, you'd have either your HVAC system in another window where you could see that the status actually did change, or you have somebody in the room to verify that the start and the stop happened as expected. Once you've confirmed that, you're done with the action for this item. The next step is to go to the Rooms tab, and here you're going to map which room from the Dean Evans system will map to this VAV. So on the right you have all the available rooms from the Dean Evans system. All I've got to do is select the one or more rooms. In this case SS4, one room I'm going to move over, and I can double click that or move it over like that, and now it's mapped to this zone. And I can go to the Events tab and refresh for the day's events, and it'll show room SS4's confirmed booked events for today, and this would be the schedules in play for this VAV box. And we've done both the mapping of the actions in the rooms. We verified end-to-end that it works. This zone is done, and now I can move to the next one.